Jim Ross says WWE Dynamite, but who cares? He's the greatest of all time and should only retire when he's good and ready, if ever.
Oh, shit! It's Pro Wrestling Bits!
AEW spent 2 minutes paying tribute to the pandemic era of programming in Daly's place in the last sentence spoken by Poor Ol J.R, where there's nothing in your life that will top seeing a live WWE Dynamite. That poor bastard. But hey, WWE Dynamite kind of has a nice ring to it. I wonder how long after he said that did he realize what he had done? Like, did somebody on the announce team have to smarten him up when they went off the air and be like, hey, Jim, before you check your Twitter? Well, Jim Ross did check his Twitter and he clapped back by saying, yep, I apparently made an untimely error tonight at show's end. No excuses, and I'm not quitting. Cowboy hat emoji. That's what I'm talking about, Jim. Say it with your chest. Now, I'm not here to make excuses for Jim Ross. He f***ed up. Just like he f***ed up when he called Kenny Omega the WWE Champion, or any of the semi-occasional slip-ups he has on commentary while trying to keep pace with AEW's high-octane, injury-baiting style. But Jim Ross brings a legitimacy, credibility, and prestige to an AEW announce desk that nobody alive in pro wrestling can. There's a reason this man gets his own entrance during AEW pay-per-views, and even though he isn't what he once was, he's still the GOAT who has a clearly defined purpose in an otherwise crowded booth. Ross is the bane of the existence for many a progressive new age wrestling hipster, but in the wild world of AEW, filled with outside interference and incompetent officiating, Jim Ross serves as the voice of reason. Grumpy Jim is quickly becoming infamous in AEW circles for repeatedly and furiously calling out referees for missed spots, taking too long to break hold, not checking to see if somebody's shoulders are down. We'll be here all night if we run down all the moments Jim Ross called out those poor refs. But I love it. Not only does Ross capture the voice of the cynical viewer at home, Ross's realistic approach to commentary helps legitimize AEW as a pseudosport, which is exactly how Tony Khan presents his company, given the emphasis on wins and losses. If the entire announce team took a go-with-the-flow approach and nobody pointed out the ridiculousness of all the outside interference with the referees helpless to stop it, then these wins and losses suddenly don't seem like they mean much. The stakes just don't seem as high when AEW's overbooking isn't called out when it happens. That's why I love Jim Ross on commentary. He's the bad cop. The former WWE executive, Hall of Fame announcer, and pro wrestling lifer acts as almost a defense attorney, ruthlessly litigating anything he deems to be pro wrestling bullshit. I learned a lot listening to JR, and I like the fact that he holds these matches accountable. Ross is a microcosm of how AEW has been brilliantly using its legends. Yes, there are a lot of old guys running around AEW, like a lot. In fact, if AEW signs another 60-year-old, they'll complete their punch card and be eligible for a free pair of orthopedic shoes. But by no means are any of them front and center. Sting is being used to to keep Darby Allin over. Tully Blanchard is being used to talk for FTR. Christian Cage is being used to talk on behalf of Jungle Boy and get him over, and Jim Ross is being used as an auxiliary part of a commentary team where Excalibur, not good old JR, is the lead announcer. Plus, and this is gonna sound like some Wrestling Observer level AEW propaganda, but Ross being so prone to such viral slip-ups actually makes AEW more likely to trend on Twitter, giving them more social media engagement with their relatively young audience. I'm here for Jim Ross. You'll never hear me calling for his head no matter how many WWE references he drops on the Turner Network. Jim is a national treasure, the greatest ever, and I want him on commentary. So does Chris Jericho, Brian Gruitz, and a host of pro wrestling luminaries who know a thing or two about the business. Do you want Jim Ross to remain on commentary after his WWE Dynamite botch? Let me know in the comments.